Hello and welcome to the Journal. I'm Steve Kendall. The role of a mayor in a city is always filled with challenges and opportunities, even in the best of times. But dealing with the unusual times we live in makes it even more of a challenge. Joining us is the mayor of the city of Bowling Green, Mike Aspacher. Mayor, welcome to the Journal today.
Hello, Steve. It's good to be with you.
Now, I referenced the fact that these are unusual times we lived in. You were a city council person for a number of years. You became mayor on January 1st. I'm sure that on that day you never imagined the kind of things that would be taking place as you moved through your first year as mayor. So talk a little bit about how that transition took place and how this has gone so far in a year where everything seems to be not normal.
Well, Steve, you're absolutely right. Like any other mayor, I suspect, I took office with high hopes and aspirations and what I thought were great plans and thoughts that could help move the city forward. But like everybody else, our world changed to a certain degree in late February and into March. So yeah, all of us have faced a great deal of unanticipated challenge. But I think that all of us have worked extremely hard together, collaboratively, to face the challenges head on. But yeah, there's no question that we all have been faced with new challenges. There's not a playbook for any of this. Honestly, I've kidded the past Mayor Edwards a few times I've seen him recently. I keep asking him where he might have stashed the playbook that would give us the guidance to deal with the impacts of a global pandemic. We have not yet found that playbook, but we continue to do the best that we can and move forward.
Yeah, and let's face it, you're the first mayor in 100 years in the city of Bowling Green to deal with a pandemic. So it's been a while since a mayor has had to confront this kind of a situation.
Well, that's true, but Steve, as I've said consistently, I am so proud of the way our community has responded to these challenges. From all of our city staff, our executive team, and every one of our city employees, everyone associated with the city, officials at Bowling Green State University, officials with our local schools, Bowling Green City Schools, and all of our other community schools. All of the members of our community, frankly, have rolled up their sleeves, confronted the challenges head on, and frankly, I think that our community has shown itself to be resilient in the face of all of these challenges. We understand, the issues that are confronting us, the need to make decisions that are going to be based on science and the need to protect the public health and safety of everyone in our community. So I've been very gratified with the collaborations with all of the various organizations, and I should also include Stan Korducky and all the good folks at Wood County Hospital on that list, because they also are working very hard. So yeah, I think that all of us have rolled up our sleeves. We've gotten to work, and there are certainly challenges in front of us that we're mindful of, and we continue to work collaboratively to make sure that we're doing the things necessary to help our community cope as best we can with all of these challenges.
Yeah, because I think as a citizen who works in the community, I think you'd be hard pressed to see that this has impacted the way services have been delivered. Everything has kind of continued as business as usual, and things have gotten done. You wouldn't know that this unusual incident that we have going on since March has actually happened, because city services seem to continue to function at the high level they always have. Citizens are getting what they expect from their government, that sort of thing. So it speaks well, as you said, to all of the folks involved, that the city has basically been able to neutralize this situation pretty well.
Well, thank you, Steve, for those kind words, and truly that is a testament to all of our city employees in terms of the delivery of essential services. When the pandemic first presented itself, we focused very quickly on what it was that we needed to do to provide those essential services to our community. So we looked, of course, at all of our public safety services and worked closely with Chief Hetrick and Chief Moorman to coordinate with our police and fire divisions to make certain that they had all the resources that they needed to respond accordingly. We took a very close look at our utility operations. We are, of course, a municipal utility entity. So we have 24/7 operations at all of our plants, water treatment and wastewater plants, that absolutely needed to continue to operate. that one of the challenges associated with doing those things was once we identified the services that really were essential and needed to continue, we really needed to understand how we could provide those services while also considering the health and safety of all of our employees. And that really required a great deal of creativity and flexibility on behalf of all of our employees to figure out how we can continue to do the things that we always do every day in a new fashion. Because the health and safety of our employees really was a vital concern, because we recognized the fact that although they provide an essential service to our communities, they all have families, and we needed to make sure that all of our employees were being held safe while they continued to work. So again, great deal of flexibility, innovation in workplace allowed us to continue to provide those services. I'm immensely proud of all of our employees and our executive staff. Showed a great deal of leadership. Lori Treader, our municipal administrator, Joe Fawcett, our assistant administrator, and the entire executive team worked really hard together to determine how we could continue to provide our essential services while confronting the challenges and really being safe.
Yeah, because one of the things is there's a huge amount of interaction between citizens and the various departments of the city. So just dealing with that aspect of having to look at ways to provide the proper separation, masks, those sort of things, obviously was, again, uncharted territory. As you said, there wasn't a playbook for that. You had to confront that and deal with it right out of the box.
That's true, and when you look at a lot of our workspaces, a lot of our facilities, including our municipal administration building and some of our treatment plants, they're old facilities, and they didn't necessarily provide the logistical means to provide the physical separation in some cases. Our firehouses, our police station, it really did require a great deal of innovation in order to allow people to continue to work, but work safely. So yeah, we shut the municipal administration building for a while. We closed our park facilities for a while, but then over time we recognized that we did need to get some of our employees back into the buildings. Although they were able to work productively from home, we did need to get them back into the buildings. So our Public Works, Brian Kraft and his staff, provided a great deal of support in helping us modify our building structure to allow us to get some of our employees back into the buildings so that they could continue to serve the public, but again with a focus on safety both to the public and to our employees. So yeah, great number of challenges that frankly they just kind of kept on coming. And our staff has remained resilient, has remained innovative, and it's just really what we needed to do. And again, I'm going to say once again that I'm just tremendously proud of our staff on how they have continued to do those things.
Well, when we come back, let's talk about the fact too that not only from an operational point of view, but affecting that, of course, is budgets and things like that, because income to the city from a variety of sources changed because of this. So when we come back, let's talk about the impact of that and how the city has dealt with the financial side of the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll be back in just a moment with the Mayor of Bowling Green, Mike Aspacher, in just a moment here on The Journal. Thank you for staying with us here on The Journal. Our guest is the Mayor of the City of Bowling Green, Mike Aspacher. And Mayor, we talked about the operational challenges as you took office on January 1st, and then just a few months later, obviously the world changed with regard to the pandemic. But one of the aspects of that too has been that pandemic not only has affected operations, although the city has met the challenge and kept things rolling right along almost in a seamless fashion, but one of those big aspects is the financial side of how that impacted the city in terms of revenue sources, not just from local taxes and things of that nature, but also from the state. So talk a little bit about how the city has dealt with the fact that the pandemic has caused some financial bumps in the road along the way compared to what you may have thought was going to be here on January 1st.
Yeah, Steve, there's little question that the pandemic has affected in a negative way city finances. I would point out that throughout the course of the pandemic, as we've discussed previously, the need for the city to provide essential services has not abated in any way. So the challenge is to continue to provide all of those services in the face of declining revenues. The city, in its financial structure, relies heavily on income tax revenue to provide funding for services. So, although we have seen a significant increase in revenues, we continue to monitor that impact. We have instituted cost-cutting measures in order to minimize as best we can the financial impact on the city, in this moment. We know that the financial impact will extend itself into 2021 and perhaps beyond. So we are just now entering budget preparation for the 2021 budget. So we're looking closely at trends in revenue, and there are hopeful signs that we can see that the economy is rebounding. But yes, of course, we'll continue to be challenged. And I should also point out that, again, the city is a municipal utility entity. So just as declining revenue has affected our general fund expenditure or revenues, is also affected in a negative way utility revenues as well, primarily on the electric side. When businesses were closed down to a large degree in March, we saw a corresponding drop in consumption of municipal utilities. So of course that had a negative impact on revenue, primarily related to electric consumption. Many of our largest consumers are industrial businesses in Bowling Green, of course Bowling Green State University. So that did of course have a negative impact on the revenue stream that we are also looking at closely. But again, we're seeing hopeful signs that business activity is improving, returning a little bit closer to normal levels. So we're hopeful that we're going to finish 2020 strong, and we're planning accordingly for 2021 to continue to closely monitor economic challenges, not only to the city, but to many of our businesses.
Sure.
Steve, it's really important that we recognize that the pandemic has negatively impacted many of our local businesses, both large and small. We have worked very hard to try to support our local businesses in any way that we can. We've tried to be creative in ways that we can allow local businesses to continue to function in the face of the pandemic. So again, I'm really proud of the collaboration between many of our downtown merchants in the city in identifying ways that we can collaboratively work together to allow some of these smaller businesses to keep their head above water during the course of the pandemic. And many have done a really terrific job in creating new footprint for their businesses to increase their availability to their customers. That remains an ongoing challenge, but again, I've been very heartened and encouraged by the collaboration and frankly the resolve of the Bowling Green residents, business owners, all of our citizens. Everybody is just really rolling up their sleeves, joining together and working collaboratively to make the best of this situation.
Yeah, and I know, especially when you look at the downtown, restaurants, the providers, food service providers, those sort of things, have adjusted the way they do business, and the city has been very good about allowing drive-up, changing some of the parking arrangements downtown so that citizens and residents and restaurants can have drive-up pickup, curbside pickup in the downtown, which is, is a challenge because there's a lot of traffic through there, which is a good thing. But and also too, the city I know has worked with parking in general to keep that a little more accessible to people as well. So yeah, those are the kind of things. Are there other things directly that the city did, other initiatives like that to kind of make it easier for businesses to operate in this kind of new environment that we have?
Well, Steve, you mentioned the relaxation of signage requirements for the downtown area. Mm-hmm. You also mentioned the relaxation of the minimum parking requirements, which allowed businesses in many cases to spread out into their parking lots to establish a more broad seating platform perhaps. And those things I think have been very helpful. I should also say that the city is fortunate to have had a revolving loan fund that we use through conjunction with Bowling Green Economic Development that has proven to be very beneficial. We increased the amount of revenue or amount of funding that was available in that fund. We relaxed as best we could the application processes. We modified the payment, the repayment setup. to allow businesses to create more flexibility in how they might be able to repay those loans. And all of those things have proven, I think, to be very beneficial. We worked with the Chamber of Commerce and the Downtown Business Association to make certain that local businesses were aware of resources that were being made available both through the federal and the state government. And there were a great number of businesses that were able to access those resources, which really served as a lifeline in many cases. But again, at the very beginning, it was just important for us to do all that we could do to make ourselves available to coordinate efforts with all of our local business owners to make certain that we were doing everything that we could do to support their efforts, to understand the challenges, and be doing all that we could do from a government standpoint to provide them every opportunity to respond to the challenge and be successful.
Now, one of the things that did happen, of course, is there are a lot of events that take place in the summertime, the spring, the summer, and the fall. And those have pretty much been, the Wood County Fair operated in a very limited basis. That meant a lot of business, or less business, I'm sure, people coming into town because Black Swamp wasn't there, the Firefly Nights on Friday nights, all of those different activities. So does the city anticipate those will all open back up again, but that had to affect, as you said, some of the revenue streams as well, because people weren't coming into town in the tens of thousands as they would for Black Swamp, for instance, or the tractor pull, where again, tens of thousands of people frequenting local businesses using all of those services.
Yeah, there's no question, Steve. The cancellation of all of those events affected our community, really in a very big way. And there's such great events that members of our community work so hard to present to our community. So we missed them. We missed, as you mentioned, the Firefly events. We missed the Black Swamp Festival and the Wood County Fair and the tractor pull. We have every hope and expectation that next year those things are going to come back to our community, and our community can once again come out. We can enjoy all of these events, enjoy friendships and relationships that have been established as a result of those events, because they really do provide a great, they're part of the fabric of our community. They're part of what makes Bowling Green great. They're unique. And certainly they have an economic impact that cannot be minimized. So we are certainly hopeful that when 2020 comes around, that we will see those events return to our community, because they're really important.
Good, good. Well, we come back. Let's talk a little bit about the city, of course, is a college city. It has the Bowling Green State University. Let's talk about how you and the president of Bowling Green State University and the university and other city areas are collaborating to make the town as great as it can be. So we'll be back in just a moment with the Mayor of Bowling Green, Mike Aspacher, here on The Journal. Thank you for staying with us here on The Journal. Our guest is the Mayor of the City of Bowling Green, Mike Aspacher. And Mayor of the city is, of course, the home of Bowling Green State University. And the city and has been recognized as one of the best college towns in the country. So talk a little bit about the relationship between the city and the university and how everybody makes that work.
Well, Steve, first of all, I want to say that I certainly recognize the importance of the relationship between the City of Bowling Green and Bowling Green State University. We're proud to be the home of Bowling Green State University, and I think that over the past decade or so, it's become clear to me, at least, that the relationship between the city and the university has really solidified. I've seen a great number of collaborations, not only between the mayor's office and the president's office, but also at various levels of staff. I see on a very regular basis that there are conversations that take place that result in real collaborations in order for the city to best utilize many of the resources that exist at Bowling Green State University. They provide great level of support, educational support, and so I think that in the terms of the pandemic, we've all understood, number one, the importance of that. It has really driven home the importance of the relationship in the best of times, but certainly in the aspect of COVID, the worst of times. So I think that the structure that has been created for the relationship really has only improved. I have been so thankful for my relationship with President Rogers. We speak nearly on a weekly basis. We're in constant contact about issues that are facing the university, issues that are facing the city, and things that we might be able to do collaboratively to address these issues. It will be certainly important that we continue to do that, both in the context of COVID-19, but also in the future, because as the city continues to grow and we continue to consider ways that we can improve both the city and the university, there are collaborative opportunities that present themselves, and it's really important that we work together to achieve these goals that will benefit the city in terms of an increased focus on economic development that will benefit both institutions. I think that the structure that exists in terms of relationships have proven beneficial and will continue to do so.
And one of the things that the university and the city have worked on collaboratively are the gateways and the corridors. Wooster Street obviously is one of the main corridors into the city. It runs past the university. And I know there's an emphasis on looking at the intersection of Wooster, Manville, and Thurston, that the opportunities arise there for really improving the visuals there and actually the benefits to the city and the university just in that one particular spot.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Steve. There has been a tremendous amount of focus on the East Wooster Street as the gateway both onto campus and to the city of Bowling Green. We continue to look for opportunities to improve that gateway. We have just recently begin the engineering process for a new roundabout on East Wooster Street at Campbell Hill Road and Alumni Drive, which will certainly benefit the safety of that corridor, but will also serve as an aesthetic improvement on the gateway into the community. That will be a collaborative process with Bowling Green State University, ODOT, and other partners. Moving closer to the downtown area, the Manville corner does create a very unique and I think a very exciting opportunity. We will be looking at that in the near future. City Council recently created a new zoning classification for that area that we're calling the gateway zoning. We have every belief that that new zoning will provide a platform for a continued and new economic development in that area. It's a great opportunity, and we're looking forward to partnerships within the community and perhaps even outside of the community that will result in investment in that corridor, because it's a great opportunity, and we're eager to move forward with that as well.
Now, we've got just a couple of minutes. Are there a couple of things that we haven't touched on that you want to make sure people know about the city of Bowling Green, or initiatives that you're looking forward to?
Well, Steve, first of all, I just want to say once again how thankful I am for the response from the entire Bowling Green community. Bowling Green State University, Bowling Green City Schools, Wood County Hospital, and other partners, all of our residents really have, I believe, come together, faced the challenge head on, and I'll say it again, I believe that our community has proved to be resilient, and we will get through this, and in many cases we'll be better. I think that one of the challenges confronting the city at this point is to not allow the pandemic to paralyze us. We must continue to look forward and plan for the future, because again, we will get through this. So I've continued to work with city staff to pursue efforts for capital improvements in the city that we'll soon be talking about. We continue to work with a consultant to modify our zoning classifications that will most definitely be geared towards creating a more robust economy that will be hopefully enticing new investment in the city. We're continuing with that process. So really, I think the most important thing for us is continue to focus on the things that we must do to meet the needs of our citizens in terms of essential services, certainly doing all that we can do to protect the health and safety of the community at large. We want to continue to working with local businesses to do all that we can do to support their efforts. And we want to continue to build partnerships with all of our various community partners to make sure that together we're doing all that we can do to position the city and the community to not only get through the pandemic, but to take advantage of opportunities to make ourselves better, learn lessons that make themselves apparent, and really just try to make Bowling Green a better place today than it is.
Good, great. Well, thank you so much, Mayor Mike Aspacher, City of Bowling Green. Best wishes on the challenges and the opportunities ahead, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today here on the Journal.
Thank you, Steve. It was great to visit with you today.
Yep, thank you. And you can check us out at WBGU.org, and of course every week here on WBGU PBS. We will see you again next time on the Journal.